Hey grade 9s, welcome back. We are on to Unit 10, if you can believe that. That's so crazy. So this unit is called Circle Geometry, of course, as you can see on your notes and here. And we actually just have a few sections of notes to do. For some reason, the last section isn't showing up right here, so I'll try and add that somehow. But there are 4 sections of the notes for us to work on, and I might do it in more than 4 videos, but that's kind of the general outline. Today, I'm just going to talk about some terminology. Okay, and the reason I'm going to do that is because Circle Geometry is a really unique unit this year. It has essentially no overlap with the other units this year. There is some angle overlap, so the stuff we did in angles, you're going to need to know some of that this time, but it's pretty unique, this unit, and so there are lots of terms that are also unique. So you will know some of these terms from other math experiences this year, earlier years, whatever, but some of them you won't at all. And as you can see, the blanks are filled in on my notes. It's just too hard for me to write with my stylus, so you can pause the video at any time to fill them in. All of the places where you have blanks are underlined on my notes. Okay, so we're going to take a look here at these terms. So, circumference, I hope that you guys know that one. I didn't leave any space for a diagram in this case because we all know that the circumference of the circle is just all of the outside of the circle, right? I mean, you guys know I'm no artist and it's really hard with my stylus, but all of those points here that are on the outside of the circle, those are the circumference, right? That's the circumference. And the center would be like the point that would be right in the middle of the circle, of course. Okay, so those I didn't draw any diagrams for, like, officially, because we know what they are. The radius, in case you forgot, is the distance between the center of the circle and the circumference. So if you had a circle, I really should have, put a little diagram of a circle in before I started talking, but oh well. And let's say that's the center. Then the radius is that part between, there we go, the center and the circumference, and we usually use R to show it. Okay, a chord, that's the next one. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to make it a little bit easier for me to draw here. Okay, so a chord is a straight line segment where both ends lie on the circle. Okay, so what that means, I'm going to use a bit of a thicker line here to show this to you, is any line that has both ends, let's try that one more time, on the edge of the circle. Okay, so there we go, that's a better straight line. Okay, so you can see how that that little line that I just drew is hitting both ends of the circle. I know it's not exact with this stylus, but you get the idea. Okay, so that's a chord. The key bit is that the line is straight and both endpoints are on the same circle. Okay, the next one is the diameter. This is another one that I know that you'll probably know. Okay, so let's go back to regular. Here we go. So we have a circle, okay, and we know that the diameter is a line that goes through the center of the circle, and it's also a chord. Okay, so that's a new thing for grade 9, is you wouldn't have known this was a chord last year because you have not talked about the word chord before. Okay, but if that's the center of the circle and the diameter goes right through the middle from one end to the other of the circle, then that is both the diameter and a chord, right? Because both ends lie on the circle, and it's a straight line going through it. Okay, and we also know that the diameter is usually represented by the letter D. Okay, and it's twice the length of the radius. Okay, so to find the diameter, you're going to multiply radius by 2. So that's really important as well. Okay, a secant is a chord that doesn't have endpoints, okay? So it's a line, and let me just draw another little, circle diagram here, okay? And the line is going to continue on in both directions after it intersects the circle. So the difference between this and a chord is that the chord ends at the edges of the circle. Like, if I were to draw this, that would be a chord, right? But a secant is kind of the same idea, except that it goes on past the edge of the circle in both directions. Okay, there we go. A tangent is a similar idea. Okay, it's also a line that intersects the circle, but instead of intersecting it at 2 points, okay, so let me just scroll back up here, we can see here how this intersects the circle twice, the secant, but with a tangent, there we go, sorry, the line intersects the circle only at 1 point instead of 2. Okay, so just going to choose a color here. Oh, that's like pretty much exactly the same color. Let's do orange. Okay, in this case, the tangent, I'm going to do my best to draw this really nice and neat. It's very hard for me, though, you guys know that. Okay, so there we go. That's a tangent, okay? And so it, as you can see, it just has that one point of intersection instead of two. Okay, and the other interesting thing about a tangent is that it also would form a 90-degree angle with one radius. Okay, so what I mean by that is this is the center. Okay, let's just say, I know it's approximate, it can't be exact, but if I were to draw a perfect circle, that would be the middle, right? And then the tangent that I drew here, this orange one, right, it forms a 90-degree angle. I'm going to try that again. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. That's better. Oh, it's not even better. You guys, it's like the smart part all over again. Goodness. Okay. We can see that that's a radius, right? Because that goes from the middle of the circle, the center, to the edge. And this will be a right angle. Okay. Can't draw. Cool. There we go. Good enough. Okay. That's supposed to be a little right angle symbol. All right, congruent circles. So congruent circle means that it's like two or more circles where the radius is the same in each. So if I had one circle here and one circle here, and then we had some centers in our circles, of course, right? So here and here. And then let's use, I don't know, I like that purple color. So we have a radius right here. And then a radius right here. And let's say that this radius had length x and this radius had length y. Then if x equals y, the circles are congruent, okay? And that means that if this radius and this radius are the same length, then those circles are actually the same size, right? And so that makes them what we call congruent, because congruent means the same in math, okay? So if you want to make yourself a little note, you could do that. Congruent means the same. Okay, so there we go. All right, next one. Ooh, sorry about this zooming in. There we go. Okay, tangential circles. This is like a crazy name, is that two circles that intersect or overlap in some way. Okay, so there are 4 options here. I'm going to pick a darker color so we can actually write with it. Okay, there we go. The first is external. Okay, and that means that we have one circle that's more of an oval. Let's try that again. There we go. That's better. Okay, one circle with its center, and then we have another circle, and they just overlap in that one spot, okay? So it's called an external tangential circle pair because they overlap on the outside. Remember that tangential means that they just touch at one spot, right? Yeah, okay, next one. Let's pick a different color. That's purple. Then there's internal, okay? So that means there are 2 circles with their centers, and again, they're just touching there, okay? They overlap only in that spot, but this time one of the circles was inside the other. Now, the next 2 are kind of interesting because they're not tangential in the same way, but they fall into this category because they do overlap, okay? So this one we would call intersecting. Ooh, that's a little bad at the end there. Let's try that again. There we go. And this is when you have 2 circles, of course, again, but this time it's like a Venn diagram, okay? So they actually do have 2 points of overlap, pardon me. So they're kind of a different category, but they do overlap in some way, so they still fall in this category overall, like the big category, broad category. Okay, and then the last option, pick one last color here. I really like this blue. I'll use that one again. It's just that there could be 2 of the same circle, right? So when they overlap exactly, see I'm drawing a second circle, I'm trying to draw it exactly on top, which is very hard. Then it's just, they're the same circle, okay? So there we go. All right, that's all the terminology. Let's just do 2 quick examples, then our examples and lesson and everything for this lesson are over. Okay, so first, use the diagram to to determine if the following statements are true or false. So the first one says that RT is a diameter. So just a reminder that RT is right here, right? Oh, so skinny. Hang on. Sorry, guys. Can't see that. Let's try this one. RT, what is happening, is right here, okay? And so we know that RT can be, like this line named RT, can be represented with this terminology, this notation, okay? So remember that that line on top means the line RT, so we can see that we're looking at a line over here, RT. Okay, is a diameter. So remember that a diameter is a chord, so it has to have both ends on the edges of the circle. So far so good. But remember that a diameter has to go through the center of the circle, and this one does not. So this is false. Okay, next example. PS is a radius. So again, remember that notation means the line PS. So we're going to look for the line PS. I'm going to use a different color. Okay, so we can see that P is here and S is here. And so we're looking for the line between those two, which is right here. And the question asks us if it is a radius or not. And so we can see that that's a straight line that goes from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle. And that is the definition of a radius, so that is true. And the last one says, is QT a chord? Or asks us to determine if QT is a chord. Okay, and so remember that line QT is going to go from Q to T. Okay, so we're going to look there and we're going to see that this right here is a line from Q to T, so that's line QT. And is it a chord or not? Is it a straight line? Yes. And does it have both ends on edges of the circle? Yes. So that makes this true. Okay, the last thing here is that, oh boy, I made a diagram. Well, I think somebody else made a diagram, another teacher anyways. I got this image from that teacher. Made a diagram saying that name each part of the diagram or label each part of the diagram with the term that best describes it. Okay, so I am going to start here with this brown one. Okay, so we can see that that's a chord that goes from one end to the other, and it happens to also run through the middle, so it is specifically the diameter. Okay. Then we can see that there's this pink one here, and it is also a straight line, but it just goes from the center to the edge, and so we call that the radius, of course. Okay, and then this green one is the next up on my list. I'm just doing this in whatever order, doesn't matter. Don't worry, you can do it in a different order than me if you tried this and then wanted to check my answers. Check your answers against mine. This is another straight line that has both ends on the edge of the circle, so we know that's just a regular chord. It's not a specific type, so we just call it a chord. Then we can see that this red one has goes through the edges of the circle twice, right? Like it contacts the edge of the circle here and here, but it keeps going in either direction, which makes it a secant. And last but not least, the black one at the bottom here is only touching the circle in one spot, right? There's just that one point of intersection right here, and so that makes this a tangent. Voila! Okay, so there we go. That's this lesson. These are terms that you should know, okay? And you don't have to be able to draw all these diagrams like with perfect accuracy or anything. As you can see, mine are not awesome all the time, but these are terms that you should know and be able to recognize. All right, I'll talk to you guys next time.